Hey, it's us once again. Welcome to another Quickie conversation. This is a special. We got a special guest. If you heard our Keep It Movin Podcast, then you already know who she is. Our guest today is Novelty. Say something, Novelty. Say something, girl.
Hello. That's not good enough.
And y'all know the next person I'm about to say. Say something, Mike B.
What it do? And
that's what he says. I think it was Mike B that came up with this conversation. We've been doing a podcast for our Quickie episodes for Iyanla Fix My Life, and this year she has around 8, 9 women.
8 women, yep. 8
women in the healing house, and everybody, dealing with the issue of the angry black woman.
Right.
And so, and all of them have their own issues, and so that's why they there to, fix their life.
Mm-hmm.
And
try to dispel the myth of the angry black woman.
Yeah. Is it really a myth?
Is it a thing?
Is it, Well, we got our correspondent here.
What do you think that there's a such thing as an angry black woman, Novelty?
I think hurt and pain may come across as anger. I don't think there's really an angry black woman. I think there's a whole lot more underneath it.
Okay, I think we're getting to understand, which is one of the reasons I keep saying I appreciate Iyanla bringing this to us, because it's opening up a lot of people's mindset to see there's more. There's an underlying factor.
There's more to it than
why
just
they're expressing
anger.
anger. You know what I mean?
And so that's what that's why we're here today to discuss that. How's the show been going? It's the first 2 episodes right now, and so I think they bringing in me in to kind of murky the water, so to speak, and see how that dynamic is.
Right.
And so the 3rd episode, I'm so ready.
Yeah, I think the 3rd episode is going to be really, really good. And I didn't know, I'm thinking the 4 episodes are going to be only about women and them, healing. But then I guess you can't heal without bringing in that other factor of some people that may be causing some of this pain that these women are dealing with. Now, me and you have talked about the first 2 episodes on our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
But what about, what is your impression of the show so far? Do you agree with, or can you relate to some of the things that the other women are dealing with or talking about?
I can relate to some of the things that they're discussing. I can't necessarily relate to how they're handling it. A lot of them lash out at each other. A lot of them or lash out at others. To even lash out at themselves to try to deal with it. Like the lady that was in the Players Club, I don't remember her name.
Crystal, yeah.
How she is so angry at her mother to a point where she's not even talking to her mother.
Right.
Now,
I'm hoping they're going to, eventually talk to the mom and them heal that whole situation.
Right. I don't think they've even gotten to the point of where they explain why she's so angry with her mother. Yeah. But to be at a point where you don't care if your mother lives or dies.
It seemed like abandonment with her for some reason. Her mama just really didn't take care.
And then she did tell us her mom doesn't respect her as a woman or something like that. But I feel like when it comes to women, period, a lot of women have issues with women. I'm not quite sure where that comes from, and that's why you have daddy's little girl, mama's little boy, because women in a household, period, don't seem to tend to get along. I don't know what that's all about.
I disagree. Between maybe the beginning of puberty, anywhere between 11 and 13 to 18, 19.
8 nowadays.
Yeah, women in the household clash, especially mothers and daughters at that age. There's too many hormones going on, and a lot that a young girl doesn't understand as far as what's going on with her body. But usually once daughters hit about 20, 25, somewhere in there, they tend to really get close to their moms. I'm close to my mom. I'm close to my aunt. I don't.
And so it's just other women.
Anger. No,
I think because I can believe other women. They it just.
But what about your sister or your mom? I feel like they have a pretty good relationship.
Oh, yeah,
or do they?
Yeah, my best friend and her mom have a great relationship.
What about women and other women? I think that's what you were saying. Like, why do women, find it's always catty, it's always a problem.
A simple thing like saying hi, and it seems like that's the biggest disrespect.
Yeah,
for women.
Like, where does that come from?
Again, I think that is underlying pain. That's something is underlying. If a woman says hi to me, I say hi back. If I don't hear any nasty tone or anything, any reason to take offense, I say hello. I stop and speak. I speak to every and anybody.
That's you,
right? And that's.
But I know
a lot of women who do that. Like I said, I think that's underlying pain. There are women who you speak to them, they just automatically get nasty. What she want? They think you're after something, and that's past history and other underlying pain.
It must be a lot of painful.
Well, I'm starting to believe that there is a lot of women.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of pain. When you can really get a grasp on and understand what a woman has gone through. We're looking at right now constant stories of rape, where the men are not being punished and not go to jail. What about these stories of rape that you never hear about? They
go unreported.
These women who are molested by uncles and fathers and friends of the family, and mom has said, "Oh, don't talk about it," or they feel like they can't tell their mom. They're living with this. So regardless,
or they just don't believe them at all.
Right. And they're living with that pain, and everything about them, everywhere they go, everything they do, that pain is there. And that pain shows itself in other ways. And even if it's not rape, it could be just being done wrong continuously. Women, especially black women as a whole have been supportive. They've been the actual support system of the family. Heck, in a lot of homes, they are the family. There is no man there. So they're raising the kids. They're doing a full-time job. They're coming home trying to make sure little Johnny and little Susie do their homework and do right. And they've got to fight to protect their children, especially now. I mean, look at our young black men and how they're dying left and right.
Right.
These women are the ones that are experiencing that pain. These women are the ones that are trying to protect their children. And then on top of that, they're trying to protect their men. The few that do have men there, when their man's back is to the wall, they're out there fighting for you. When that man can't keep that job because of some bull through some stupid injustice within the system, they're the ones that are out there and they're doing that extra work and whatever else they need to do to keep the family, to protect their men, to protect their children. And then there's no one there to protect them when they need it. Because unfortunately, the reality of it for a lot of black women, and I'd have to say most black women, is the men are not there to protect them.
And we've heard some of the women on the Iyanla show say some of the same things about not having the support system from the black men. Like, they don't uphold us like we uphold them. And it took a while, and I think I mentioned this on one of the reviews, it took a while for me to see beyond the anger. Because I just assumed, and we've talked about this several times, because when we were doing Case Reflections, and we had several episodes where we talked about interracial dating, trying to understand why black men often try and go and date white women, and our perception of the black woman, and how she always has this damn attitude. And I think more so it was me, I'm going to speak for myself, it was me not understanding the reason for the anger or the attitude, as I'll say. Because it didn't make sense. I didn't know where it was coming from. Why are you, coming at me? Why I got to get all the neck rolling, the finger pointing? Because all I said was, can you fix me a drink? Just something simple. And then we get all this backlash, not understanding the reason behind it. And I think it wasn't until I started to get older and start looking at some of my female family members and start looking at just black women and period, and seeing how some of us
through a rough life.
And some of us still treat them as if they're second tier citizens, as if they're shit. We'll build them up and have them thinking that we love them and want to be with them, all the while we're trying to sleep with her best friend. That's really what we're just trying to play the game. And it's like, why would you treat this woman who's doing any and everything for you, and you still got to play? Instead,
you? Oh, go ahead.
No,
I was going to say, was that you?
No, it wasn't me. But it led me to start understanding why she might be acting out. Why every time she gets in a relationship, then she's dealing with the same thing over and over because we can't do right. But it also says something about the men that she continues to choose. And another thing, I used to, and I've told Novelty this. We talked about this, I think, last weekend when we were discussing doing this show, how I viewed you as the angry black woman. And you don't believe.
Because you are the first person and to ever say that to me. And then on top of that, since then I've questioned people in my life, people I've known for years, people who know me to my core, as well as people who just see me and I see on an acquaintance basis, casually here and there. And that's the last thing anybody says they would ever describe me as.
Well, but you deal with other people in your life in different ways. I mean, you deal with your family members one way, and your family understands you. But when you have somebody
which is why I chose so many different people. I chose family members. I chose friends. I chose people that I barely talk to. I've posed this question to just about every
If you ask anybody that's been in our group, as far as, because we had several shows, but if you ask any guy that's been in our group, they would agree with me. Because, and I don't know if it's because of the show, and, a lot of times you would come off combative, and you told me, and it pissed me off so bad when you said this. You said you used to give me heat and put the yes. But this is what we were dealing with. Most of our experience was on the show. We've been doing this for years.
Well, and on the show, yes, because we had a conversation at one time, and you said
it wasn't no one conversation.
That used to be the running joke, because y'all used to always end the show with an argument. Everybody done left and y'all two still
talking,
arguing.
But I mean, and the thing was, we had a show, and you told me they like it, they respond when we fight.
Yeah, that didn't mean I liked it. And that didn't mean keep it up.
It was a show.
I'm just saying, because people like drama.
Like, oh, okay.
I mean, that goes without saying.
But it didn't matter. Quite honestly, on KC Reflections, it didn't matter what you said. It didn't matter whether I truly agreed with you or not. I always chose the opposite side.
You was wrong a lot of times, goddammit.
Yes, and I knew I was wrong. I chose it,
but
on
I
purpose.
didn't know that this is what you were doing.
Well,
so for years,
I swear I thought you did.
No,
that was the whole thing.
I'm getting turned on by fights and shit. Give it to me.
Yeah, no, I hated
it wasn't
that.
about turning you on. It was about the show. Quite honestly.
Well, I even quit the show a couple times because of your ass, and you still go. You gonna bring that shit?
I didn't.
She gonna ask me,
but you didn't say that.
Have you seen him like that?
Oh yeah. One time we did get into a discussion and it got a little bit heated, and I think we were talking about a similar topic
because it was man versus woman type show.
It was about black women, and I was talking about how they have this attitude, and she was like, "No, just talk about the two black women or something like that." Kind of, disrespecting. I'm like, I'm not saying every black woman
walked out.
Oh man,
oh yeah, because there was
old house. I was just like, really? Did he? Just
there was nothing else more to say to you because you weren't listening. You were just attacking and being defensive, and I understand being defensive, but you weren't hearing me out. Neither were you explaining kind of. Well, maybe we didn't know back then that there was an underlying thing beyond the rage and the anger.
Back that far, and we talk about that particular show. I remember the conversation between us, so it didn't matter if I agreed, disagreed, whatever. I was purposely taking the opposite side. I was purposely doing.
You sound like you were purposely attacking me.
It wasn't about it, and I didn't think of it. See, I didn't think of it as attacking you.
I think she was enjoying it.
I think.
She probably was.
I knew she would.
I mean, quite honestly, I think there was. I'm not gonna lie. I do
like
tend
the
to
puppet master,
enjoy a debate. So I do that. So I'll be honest with you. I wasn't upset about it. But I was purposely taking the other side just because we had that conversation, and I honestly thought that's what you wanted. You never once said, "Okay, this ain't working for me."
No,
you just walked out, and I remember when you walked out, because I looked at him and I was like,
he went to his room.
I went to the room. Yeah,
like, really?
He took his little suitcase.
But the fact that our conversations usually ended in arguments, and I quit the show several times, I would think at that point you realize that this is probably not what he likes. This is probably not what he wants.
Because I felt like you were the one that told me to do it.
Nope, I didn't.
Again,
last weekend it was my first.
And right here, ladies,
yeah.
right here is where I say communication is so important. I was thinking one thing, you were thinking another, and that's why we were ended
I wasn't thinking shit.
Up on other. No, you were angry and you weren't communicating that.
I was. You were just being combative.
When I say, Mike, I didn't see that point of view.
Okay.
Do you all get how there are certain things about women you just don't automatically see?
Right.
You have to be
right.
That's what I'm telling you. In this particular instance, because of the information I had, I didn't see that. I truly thought
she
I was
ran.
honestly like,
she didn't stop and ask. Hold on, did the gun go off?
No,
the gun didn't have to go off. She took.
I just took off. It did not matter what you said.
Man,
I 100% agree with that. I take full
She was ready.
responsibility.
It was some underlying context under there.
No, it wasn't anything underlining it. It was just it was whatever he said. Say the opposite.
Well, that surprised me to hear this news last week after so many years of working together. But I from that experience, I start, like I said, looking at other black women or just women in general and kind of seeing why they respond or why they act. Reality TV is also a very good tool in order to see kind of what some of these women go through and what they allow themselves to go through, which is one of the reasons I like to watch it and give my take on it, to try and show them that you deserve more than this.
Yeah, be my sounding board. I ain't got time.
we know.
I don't subscribe.
But I just feel like it takes growth and understanding, and I'm glad that I can see now that it's something more than just a black woman being angry. And if she is, then she has a reason to be, which is, like I said, one of the reasons I like this show. And I think on the third episode, the men are going to be there. Can we talk about the second episode for a second? And how they brought the guys, the mixer
Healing House.
Yeah.
The mixer, that sounds so old.
Old school.
I remember that. Saying that like in middle school. And it sounds old then.
That's what ain't that what they called it? A little mixer or whatever?
Mixer, yeah.
That's when they brought the men in, and the women it was like the men who didn't date black women and the reasons why. Mm-hmm. And I've, said some of those same things, but not because I'm abstinent. That guy didn't make sense. And I still don't believe that he practiced abstinence.
He was the most sexual person in there. And he was supposed to be the most spiritual.
Right.
I'm like, come on now, brother.
Me and God, but can I rub your booty real quick?
I'll drink to that. He was just all wrong.
And then, I'm sorry.
He wasn't even a wolf, and
the one that bothered me was the one that said black women are always angry, and she asked him, "Is your mother angry?"
Michael,
and he says, "Well, no."
No, that was Bo, I think.
I don't know what his name
is. Is that the one when he told old girl when he asked the question, is she bitter? Is that the same dude?
No, that was Tyrone. He came late.
Okay.
The three that came initially.
Okay.
Well, he says, "Well, no, she's not angry to me, but she's angry to other people." So it was like, okay, I can hold my mom to this standard because she's not angry to me. Well, of course your mom is not angry to you. You're hers. You're her child.
You got a lot of angry mamas. That.
I think we get to the point where we just understand mom's anger because we grew up in whatever.
But I don't even think he took the time to understand mom's anger. He just knew mom wasn't angry to me. She was angry to everybody else. He never asked mom, why are you angry? Mm-hmm. And I think that's the conversation that needs to be had.
There's new language for black folk.
As an adult, maybe. But you ain't gonna, as a child. Why are you angry?
Even as a child, you have to come to mama a little differently.
No, I'm about to say, you trying to get backhanded.
Yeah. Why are you angry?
Especially as a black child, you need to come a little differently. But I remember when I was living in Georgia, I used to come across African men, straight from Africa, a lot. And it would bother me because they were always mad. I mean, just the conversation. They were just, when they spoke to you, they were they were mean, period. And I remember saying to my great aunt, she state senator, she's been around the world and back and forth to Africa several times. And I said to her, why, they always angry. I'd probably never date an African. And she told me, stop one moment and understand that your civil rights movement, you didn't even live through. Theirs ended 20 years ago. They are angry for a reason, and you have to take time to understand where someone else is coming from before you just say they're angry. What you see on the surface is there for a reason. So that's what I say to anyone who sits there and says black women are angry. Stop and take the time to find out why. Now, you can make the decision of whether or not you want to deal with it. I mean, because it is whatever their pain is, they're going to carry that until they feel like they can let it go. So you can take the time to say, okay, well, I really don't want to deal with that. I understand why you might be angry. I just don't want to deal with it in my life. And you're more than welcome to make that choice, because still I understand a lot of their anger. I probably would think twice now before I say I would never date an African. I honestly take that back. Maybe I would, but I would have to understand why they were the way they were before I would feel comfortable doing it.
Right.
Because I'm not going to fight every fight. I got enough fights over here. There's too much going on around here right now. I can't fight what's going on in another country as well. So if you're bringing that baggage into it while I'm bringing my own baggage, that's a lot of baggage for two people.
And that's even in relationships here. When you try to, step to a woman and you realize she's giving you all this attitude or whatever, and instead sometimes you feel like you ain't got time. Like just be cool, and then let's get to know each other, and then maybe I'll get to the point where I can
let me get some conversation.
Yeah,
and
let's learn each other.
And if you just keep on coming at me, then okay.
Because some women, you go up to them and you try to just speak and say what's up, then they out look you up and down and do all that crap.
All I said was hello.
Yeah.
Maybe she been catcalled all morning, and so we don't know. And you the fifth person that said hi.
I have a friend. He went on a date with a woman from Nigeria, and she told him that she would never date a man from her country because she's from Nigeria. No, she's from Egypt. I'm sorry, but she's Arab. Okay. So she said would never date a man from her country because ingrained in their culture is that women are less than. So number one, she's not going to date her own, which bothered him because he's like, okay, well, do you not like yourself? And she's like, no, it's not that. In my culture, men feel like women are less than, and even the best ones feel like women are less than. And she said, I will never date a man like that. And he said, well, I'm more interested in your mind than anything else. And she said, no, you're not. You interested in tits and ass. Every man is interested in tits and ass. And he's like, no, I mean, yeah, I'm a man. I want to have sex, but I'm more interested in your mind than your body.
She didn't believe him.
She didn't believe him. He chose at that point to understand where she's coming from. That's all she knows.
But she didn't choose to understand where he was coming from.
Right, but that's her choice as well. But he chose to understand where she was coming from, but to say, I'm not going to deal with that. I don't want to have to fight to prove to you
just
that
to
I'm
love
a
you.
Man. Right. And in that instance, that's what women do.
Yeah.
We do that all the time. We fighting just to show y'all we love you.
But then, well, it goes both ways because a lot of times, because of the hurt and all the pain that you've been through, every night I got to prove to you
you don't recognize the love I'm actually giving.
You don't know what it looks like.
Yeah.
And I agree with that, which is why I say to both parties, you got to start with you. You got to ask yourself the questions. Why do I feel this way? Why am I, I found as I was watching that show and Iyanla was asking those questions, I found that I already asked those questions of myself. When I'm angry, I want to know why I'm angry, and I want to make sure that my anger is directed at the right person and directed for the right reason. So I always ask myself, okay, what are you really ticked off about? If I don't know,
your anger
I
is
shut
usually
myself.
directed towards customer service somewhere.
And I can tell you why. I 100% know why. I actually had to call customer service the other day. And the first thing is the stupid phone tree. You go through this computer system that don't understand you. The second thing is I'm calling you. I don't want to call you. So evidently something is already wrong that I have to call you. And then I got to go through this stupid. By the time I get to the person on the other line, don't matter who they are. I'm mad. So I know why.
Right.
And I'm trying to control that, and I'm trying to temper that.
I would transfer you.
And I don't want to talk to you no way. That's the thing. Understand? I don't want to talk to you. I'm asking by the time you get on the phone, I'm saying I want your supervisor.
Oh yeah, that's when I sent you back to customer service.
Angry.
You not getting my
just
super.
to piss her off some more. Lord have mercy.
See, but I mean, I said these are the questions you need to ask yourself. Why are you angry? Why are you upset? And get to the core of your anger and your pain before you start talking to somebody else. And these are things that I constantly do.
But I mean, that's good. Because, I mean, there was a time where I didn't know any black woman that didn't possess what I would consider this attitude or this rage or just this problem with people that came from nowhere because I didn't get or even ask, like, why are you so angry? And I met one girl, and I heard her name. This is the thing. I heard her name because she was about to start working. And
you heard
her
name? Okay.
We were in a meeting, and then the supervisor was like, we're going to get a new employee, and they said her name. And I said, oh, shit. I just knew it was going. She got a
quote unquote ghetto name.
Yeah, I said I knew it was going to be some problem. I ain't got time to be trying to deal with this. And once she got there, she was the most quiet, the most docile, the most respectful, and that was mind-boggling to me because I had never experienced a black girl that way.
Yeah,
like that just. It's like almost like subservient, but not. I mean, she'll speak up for herself, but you're just looking at her like they make you.
Weird.
You know, this is different. And
so
this you know, that also experience helped change because we started, you know, hanging out and dating, but that experience helped change the way I view, you know, all black women.
But I mean, and I guess to me that bothers me simply because why does a woman have to be docile?
She didn't have to be.
No, that was just a new experience from Mike B.
I wasn't used to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I ain't saying you have to be.
I mean, but that's the perception that I get from a lot of black men. Not all, but a lot of black men. I know a friend of mine married a white woman, divorced this white woman because she spent the marriage cheating on him. Okay, so they get divorced, and I'm sitting there going, that was your fault, because had you married one of these black women who've been sitting here doing for you for year after year after year,
and you want to have that
and
old
wanted to be
boyfriend girlfriend for 13 years.
Wanted to be with this white girl, right? But you wanted to be with this white girl. So your experience is you married this white chick, and now she's cheated on you from day one. So
I feel for some reason we act, or I can't say we, but a lot of black men think that if you could date a white girl, she's not
she ain't gonna cheat.
Yeah, she's gonna be the best thing since sliced bread.
So she's cheated. And so now he's like, and he tells me one day he's like, as I talk to black women, he said, I'm used to her now. You know, we get into a fight. Yes. Okay. But I talk to a black woman and she's just talking on GP. And I'm looking like, okay, are you angry? You coming out the pocket? And then he's like, I had to adjust myself to realize, no, she's not. She's not angry at all. This is just her tone of voice. You know, it's not out of anger. Nothing she's saying is out of anger. He had to adjust himself. We are there for our men. Most black women. And don't get me wrong.
Another thing that I've learned.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying black women don't cheat. There's somebody out there who has.
We know that too.
You know, I don't say that, but we are there for our men. We got your back, no matter what. We're loyal to a core, but you all leave and
don't think twice about it
to these white girls.
Yeah.
And that bothers black women because
there's a one on the show, Jamaica. I think she said that she has an issue with that.
With black dudes that they and she seems like she has a problem with herself. Like she looks at herself like, what's wrong with me?
Right.
That
she blames herself.
Yeah, she blames, what is it?
That's it. And we do. We wonder what we're doing wrong. Then you go out and you choose a white woman.
Is there forbidden fruit?
You know, and I don't think this is just something, I think this is our pain, but as well as our history. Black men were ripped away from homes. They were sent to live literally a block away, the next house away. They had to watch black women basically sleep with the master and 50 million different other slaves that the master told them to sleep with. And then they had to go home and they had to raise those children. And they had to take care of home as well as the master and the master's wife and whatever else the master wanted them to take care of. Then when they get freed and black men come home, black men are treated like crap in society, and still 3/5 a man, can't get a job, can't do nothing, can't support the family. The black woman is already the strength of the family now because the black man hasn't been there.
Wasn't there
she
yet.
hasn't had, she had no choice but to be who she is. So she's still backing that black man up, and then the 80s come, and then there's drugs, and now they off in prisons, either they in jail or high somewhere. So the black man is still not there. Then the black man decides finally they're ready to come home, but they can't handle the black woman. This black woman is here because she's had no choice but to be here. This black woman exists, and it starts from slavery. She exists because she had no choice. White women didn't go through that. They didn't have no choice. They always got a white man who will protect them in a heartbeat. I'm dealing with one white man now who's protecting a little white girl because she's afraid she's going to lose her job. But he's talking to the black women like they're crazy. This is, white men protect their women. They always have. So white women have not had the same experience that black women have had for centuries now. We're not just talking about what's happening today. We're talking about centuries. And this is what black women have had to teach their daughters over and over and over for centuries. White women and black women are raised differently. We have to be self-sufficient and independent. We can't depend on a man because our men go to white women. And these white women are taught and raised to grow up, get married, and have a man take care of them. So you got to understand that black women are here and the way they are because this country has made them that way. And as black men, if you guys are not going to take the heat and get your butt back in there and be the head of that family that you all want to be the head of, then get the hell out of our way. Go on and do what the hell you want to do. We're going to do it by ourselves because we don't have a choice. We've not had a choice for hundreds of years now. And if y'all continue to make it to where we don't have a choice, then forget you. And that's the way I feel on the subject, and many black women feel on the subject. We're tired of going through pain. We're tired of going through heartache. We're tired of watching other cultures protect their women while our black men won't protect us. You know, we're talking about Black Lives Matter. We're talking about the young men dying in the streets, but there's also young women. This is happening to black women as well. So I'm seeing little pop-ups here of black women's lives matter. It shouldn't have to be that way. Our men should have our back. And that's what I want to see. I want to see black men get ready and to walk in and step up and protect their women, whether it's protect your woman because her boss done lost his mind and is talking to her crazy, or whether it's get in there and fight to protect her so she can protect you and your family. It doesn't matter. Get in there and do your job and deal with the angry black woman for a minute, because until you show her anything other than a black man that's going to walk out on her, she's going to be angry.
That's it. I feel like that's it.
My listening to this space is used. I can't say no more.
Yeah,
after
there's nothing else to say really, because it all goes back to us stepping up and being who we're supposed to be in the household, in our society and our communities. And until we do that, we really we can sit back and complain all we want to, but until we step up and do what we're supposed to do, then it's for what?
But I think we, you and me, I think we understand that.
Oh yeah,
because from our past shows, we've somewhat diagnosed the problem. We know what the problem is, but it's up to each individual man to step up.
Thankfully, we ain't out here having all these different babies and walking away from them. But a lot of there's a lot of people that we know that do.
Oh yeah, yeah. They always in a black family, and so. Anything else?
I think that's enough, for this particular one. Maybe we'll come back in 2 weeks after the finale and talk a little bit more about it. Maybe get some input from some of the, and then share some comments. So if I'm going to just throw this out there.
Go ahead,
for those of you who do have comments on what we talked about today, or just Iyanla Iyanla period, and the topic, Feel free to leave your comments, and we're going to do another show after the finale, another podcast like this after the finale, and then we'll share some of your comments, discuss some of your comments on that show, and go from there. Oh, and thank you, Novelty, for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Till next time, people.
Adios.